My name is Mariana, and today I have this presentation in which I will tell you about the story of the internet. I don't know, I'm really passionate about like the story that brings us here today, and I'm a designer. I used to do industrial design a lot of years ago, and then I switched my career into the digital industry. I used to do UX design. Then I went to a bank, a Spanish bank, BBVA. It's weird in English, BBVA. And then everything changed because I entered deep into the blockchain and created a collection with Pablo Stanley of really beautiful robots. And yeah, so let me start with my story. So we need to jump back into the history of the internet, because today, as I was telling you, like my life changed because of cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and all this weird stuff. But back in the day, sharing information was something like kind of difficult, and it was, I don't know if you remember that, but it was super slow, really, really slow. But it was really important for our evolution as humans. And on our history as a species, we have like shared myths between us and our friends, and those myths and those stories had shaped all the world in which we live today. And with those myths, I'm speaking about human rights. I'm speaking about, I don't know, the politics, constitutions, religions. And internet was super important to this human evolution. So in the 60s, the internet was born with something people called Web 1, or like the first web. And this is like the first era of the internet, and it was born in a school like this. It was born in a school because people wanted to share information from one computer to another. Then the army took that idea and they say like, oh my God, this is super useful. We can share information from one continent to another. So they invested in the technology, and that technology then evolved into the first websites. Those websites they were just like read-only. They were like static pages, and they had like a pretty homogeneous look, not because there wasn't designers there. It was because the technology was pretty simple. It was just text. And something interesting is that back then, all the files had to be downloaded. Like all those files didn't live like in a cloud as today. So then we went to Windows 95. I remember having a computer like this and spending a lot of time alone in my room waiting for the computer to do something. And it was slow, and it was slow because like designers were starting to discover HTML and to add stuff into pages. And then the first e-commerce sites like Amazon were born there. And this era started to boost another one called the Web 2. The Web 2 is mostly the internet we know today. This era is about like a more social internet in which connectivity is not only looking to generate information and data, but also like to give transactional value between individuals. And when I am talking about transactional value, I'm talking about not only money, but reputation, likes. Who doesn't like to receive a lot of likes on their Instagram pictures? And so this technology evolved, and we went from those simple text sites to all the applications and all the things we have now in our hands, in our phones. But and it's fantastic. Like, we can go from point A to point B really easy, like just with internet connection. We can travel the world. We can do anything with our phones. But there's a problem. And the problem is that to achieve like all of this freedom that technology gave us, we need to have like all the information centralized in one company. And this is pretty cool because today I was thinking like, oh my God, that's why UX was born. Because like in order to create a better internet to all of the people around the globe, we need like a bunch of experts designing everything and designing a more homogeneous look and feel of the web. But the problem with this was that all the information and the owner of the information is just one company. And maybe that company is good and we're okay, but maybe not. So our internet is shifting once again. Today we are like this. We consume a lot, but we also work a lot for the algorithm. Like, we dance on our TikToks. I don't know if you dance in your TikToks, but now, like now I feel the pressure, like, oh my God, I need to dance to keep relevant in this internet. But like now we are producing and producing and producing content to feed the infinite machine of the algorithm. And perhaps this will lead us in the right way and we are just having fun there. But there are some people that are concerned about our rights as citizens that use the internet. So when we are using these platforms, we are like giving our rights of property. And this is kind of weird because like we are giving away the property of our selfie, you know, like a picture of ourselves to someone else. I like this example. For example, like when you go to a library to buy a book, like you pay for the book and you take the book home and that's it. You read the book whenever you want and you can take it wherever you want to take it. But for example, now with Amazon, you can, if you buy a book in their platform, it's not like, okay, I want to read my book now in another service. It's like, no, 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 no. Because that property is mine, because like I'm just giving you, like you are just paying me a subscription. You are just paying me a rent for this property. So, because we don't own anything, we are now in this, can you go to the next one? We are now like in this bubble of centralization when we are paying rent for everything. And you may think like, dude, this is cool. I don't want to own all the things I have. It's cool to just have pay some rent. But, can you go to the next one? But there are some people that think that we should care about our privacy, that we should care about our property, and they are thinking about the future and the future in which we're going to live, that the big companies say that it's going to be like this metaverse version of our reality with like a merge between our physical world with the digital world. And I don't know if you have heard about Ethereum and Bitcoin, but all of this new thinking or new way of thinking, which is the Web3, it's about taking care of property, taking care of privacy, and also having a native coin to create the new economy of the future. So on the backstage of the technology industry, UXers and coders and people like you and me were thinking about like, we can have a better internet. And we don't have like to change everything. We just have to do some small reformations we just want to decentralize the power and to start to think more into open systems that can make us share the property between, or the responsibility between a group of people. So something interesting is that Web3 products and services are focused more in the power of the users. They are seeking to break those dynamics of centralization so people can enjoy the benefits of the internet. And you may say, okay, but how? Okay, so as I told you, the best way to do it is to create an economy. In the past, when we create like our economic system, that was one of the most biggest advances in the human history. Inventing money changed our life. So now that we are, can you go to the next one? So now that we are designing this new ecosystem, we are designing the next revolution of the internet. And with this shared power, we are starting to see three main trends. The first one is to give people more control over their digital identities and data. So maybe you know NFTs because of these quirky images of apes and pixelated punks. So because people are trying like to represent themselves with a more artistic vision or with another thing, not with their face. The second trend is that decentralized applications that you can leave that one's cute. The second trend is decentralized applications, which are services that live in these blockchains, decentralized. And the third one is making digital money a native feature of the internet. So, when NFTs? The NFT fever started, I think, 24 months ago. NFTs started like 2 years ago, but like the fever, no, 4 years ago, but like the fever, the FOMO, that I want to get into this, I'm making millions, look at me. It started like 24 months ago, and it was because of the lockdown. So we had a lot of people in their home. They were like just isolating themselves. And then this magical app called Clubhouse started to create a revolution, like a cultural revolution, because people started to talk about cryptocurrency. They started to talk about money, digital property, why we need to decentralize the world. And also they were speaking about their NFTs and these images that had like these dynamic prices that with the power of a community can go up, like art itself. I feel that it's the same way that art works. And a lot of people just ask me this question, like, okay, I understand, Mariana, but why I cannot just like right-click and save the image and that's it? And this is because an NFT is a digital property attached to the blockchain. So imagine that this image has a number, and that number is recorded in this blockchain technology, or in this technology. So the Bored Apes are pretty famous. I think you have seen this image around the internet. Also, this CryptoPunk, this is a CryptoPunk. It was sold for 11.8 million at Christie's. And this started like a craziness in the industry because for the first time, the digital art was valuable because it was attached to the blockchain. So people can claim they have an original piece. And having like the acceptance of Christie's created a whole industry of projects of generative art. What is generative art? Basically, generative art is putting an algorithm to work for you. So you just design can you put play? So you just design some rules, And with these rules, the computer creates all the images for you. I have Pablo Stanley in the backstage because after being like a year as an artist in the NFT space, he discovered an opportunity on creating tools to help people to do those kind of generative projects without any code knowledge. And basically, Bueno is facilitating a lot of artists to create art, but they don't have to draw one by one. Just algorithms create the, with some rules, algorithms mix and match everything and create the images. It's pretty easy. You have to draw some traits, like here, mouths, heads, eyes. And then you have to assign some rules of position and color. For example, there you can see the rules of position, those colors for the body, for the background. And with those rules, then the computer do the combinations for you, and you can visualize them. So you can create hundreds of images or even thousands in seconds. So now I'm gonna send my mic to Pablito, who is there. And to make this a little bit smooth, I put a comic there. Can you see the comic, Pablo?
Oh yeah, this is. Hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this always happens to me, but it's a good thing that this happened, right? Where it's like, hey, you open a node file, and then you see like, hey, this doesn't look good. Who the hell did this? And then you realize like, oh, I did this. But that means that you grew, right? That you look at your old designs and you look at them thinking like, wow, that's horrible, because your design abilities have grown to the next level, right? But I have to admit that sometimes the opposite happens, where I open old files and I see them and I was like, wow, I used to be more creative. Wow, the stuff that I did before was actually cooler, which is kind of sad, right? Because like that means that I've been working on stuff that is like, because product design, we have to admit, usually product design is boring. It's
It is
boring work. It's just like, I mean, boring, and it has to be boring by design. It has to be familiar. It has to be repetitive. It has to be consistent. So it has to, and sometimes you cannot just like play around with your script and how you write, and it's like, oh, trying to be clever and cute. Because if you try to do that in your UX copy, then people are not going to understand what the hell you're saying. And they're going to, you know what, click X and go to the next thing. So like you have to be really clear. I don't know. What I'm saying is that sometimes you open old files and you realize that you used to do more fun stuff in the past. Anyway, what's up, Mariana?
So you are going to show us how to use Bueno.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's true, right? Well, let me share my screen. It says that I cannot start screen while the other participants share.
Okay, let me stop my sharing. Wait a second. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
All set.
All set? Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. And well, first of all, thank you everyone for being here today. I'm going to show you some of my process of how I use Bueno, which is a tool that we created for artists who want to get their creations in the blockchain. So we're creating tools for NFT creators. And this is generative art, community drops, collaborations with other artists, all of that stuff made easily. So, like to do this, you can just go to bueno.art or directly to nft.bueno.art. you connect your wallet and all that stuff. I'm not going to get into that, but this is what you will see if you go to nft.bueno.art.
I'm
And
going to
then
interrupt you, Pablo. If you want to open like a wallet, at the end you can come with me or with Biri, and we can onboard you to the wallet thingy.
That is awesome. And yeah, and it's good that someone who knows how to do all this stuff onboards you and tells you about the importance of like securing your private key and just like being really careful about all that stuff. Because like when you open a wallet, it's like opening a bank for yourself, your own bank. You don't want anyone like getting into your bank, right? It's a wallet, like a wallet. You don't want people just like looking at your wallet and grabbing stuff. So you have to be really careful. Anyway, so I'm glad that Mariana and Vidi, you're doing that, because that's really cool. And it's also sometimes a little bit cumbersome for people. Anyway, okay. So once you enter, you connect your wallet, you all that, then you're going to see the tools. And then here you have art, contracts. You can create your own smart contracts. You can create forms. That's the stuff you can create. I'm going to concentrate on the art stuff. But before even doing this, I'm going to show you my process creating this. But let me just open it so you can see what I'm talking about when I talk about like generative art. This is like, for example, this is a collection. This is a project that I'm working on, an art project called Humankind. And this is like how it looks, right? They're all different. They all, you look at them, they all like have different little things. They're all in black and white, they follow the same style, but some of them like have a pig hat, some of them will have an astronaut helmet, some of them will have a really big hat with just covering everything. So like all those details are hand-drawn in different layers and then put together by Bueno. But before doing that, let me show you, let's go back, rewind a little bit and show you my process doing this in a tool like Procreate or Photoshop. For example, here I'm in Photoshop, and I actually made all of this in Procreate, but then I put it in Photoshop just to organize it. But I usually draw everything in Procreate, and Procreate is an iPad app that you can just draw all the stuff. But here you're going to see that there's organization on everything. For example, I have in different folders like all the different PCs. Like for example, different but what do you call them, the face gear, like all the different. For example, these are the Elton ones. These are the duck ones. These are the hunter and then the good bunny instead of bad bunny. The ad patch and multiple stuff. They're all different layers, as you can see. Also, let's say that I leave that, but also body accessories. They're all in different layers. For example, this one is a different one. This one is the camera one. I like this one, the camera one. And then this one is just like a simple one. Apparently, it's not fitting with this. I have to do something about that. It's also the cross one, and so on. So you can see that there's a little bit of everything. You can just like put pale skin, light skin, tan skin, dark skin, and a little bit darker skin. So that's all those layers are separate. Once I have them, then I put them in a folder like this, and you're going to see that I have everything separated, just like I have all the different details here of the face. You can see all of these are actually scars in the face, and one of these is like an eye, like all the face gear, for example, have all the different, just like all the different assets. And then I have all of this stuff. You can see there are multiple folders. And then once I have them, let me go back and just like create a new one. I'm going to create a new one. I'm just going to drag and drop all of my assets. It's really that easy. Once I have them, just like going to export this folder, just going to drag and drop it. All of this just reads everything. I have all my hairs, all my hair helmets. I have all my different clothing, my backpacks, the helmets, all that stuff. So I'm going to say, next, let's do it. And then from here, it tells you like, hey, well, let's put everything together. As you can see, it is a mess. And that's a mess because like right now, all the layers are separate, and they're like, Bueno doesn't really understand like which is which. So for example, the wheelchair should be all the way to the back. Also the wheelchair backpack should be behind the wheelchair. Maybe the backpack should be behind the clothing, and so on. So like once you have all these details like put together, let me put the skeleton body here, you start seeing that everything is getting together. Once you have it, then it's going to look, I'm going to discard this and I'm going to go back to this. Then it's going to look something like this. It's going to look like a template that is like this. For example, this is a humankind. And I have all my different layers. I have my eyes, the little details, the shirt accessories. I have shirts, skin, all that stuff. And then I also turn off the ones that don't belong to this template. For example, I have another one that is just for skulls. So I have the skeleton body, the skull eyes, and different ones. So I go back and have 3 different templates. One that wears a helmet, one is just a humankind, and one that, as you can see, instead of a body with flesh and with flesh, it only has bone. So that's the bony kind. I don't know if that's the best name. I might change it. So, and then you go to the preview, you generate, for example, here there are 10,000 of those. I can just like go and preview how my artwork is going to look. For example, I want to see how all the ones that have a hoop accessory look. So I can see that all of them have a hoop, the hat, a little hoop earring, and just like looking at how it looks. For example, here, I like it, but maybe you don't like it. Maybe you're like, yo, this doesn't look right. The hoop shouldn't be there. The hair should be on top of the hoop. So if you don't want to avoid that, then you could create something that we call rules. And those rules tell the algorithm, hey, the algorithm, please create a rule. It says that the hoops doesn't mix, or you can say only exists or always pairs with, but I want to go with the rule that says doesn't mix with the long hair. I think it's like super long hair. To never mix these two, okay? So now we're creating a rule that says that. Now I created the rule, I'm going to close this and I'm going to regenerate the whole thing. I'm going to regenerate 10,000 tokens because once you change one little thing, then it changes everything. You have to regenerate the whole collection. So on Bueno, we have to do it super fast so you can always preview this kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and actually I already have the filter and I have 493 results with a hoop. But let's see on the hair and see how it looks with the hair. Hair. Where's the hair? The hair top and the super long one, super long. There's 0 results for ear accessory and hoop. Why? Because I had created a rule that says, oh, those don't combine. So now the algorithm is not creating that combination. So yeah, like this is, then you can go and manage all the little details. For example, all those rules that I created that rule, but I have created a ton of different rules, like different shirts that don't mix, different hairs that only mix, always pairs. Like I have created all these rules. That is telling the algorithm, like, hey, don't be random, but also at the same time, don't be that random. You know, like, hey, keep some of the randomness, like I want to create some rules and I have control over how my collection looks. Then I can go into the attributes, like for example, here, all the backpacks, you see all the different backpacks, right? And for example, here, you're going to see that we added a little controller that tells the algorithm how many of these look, how many of these should it rate. And for example, here, this one is common, but I can go and say like, hey, make it unusual or make it, yeah?
We're having a technical problem. We lost you. Can you stop for a second the demo?
Oh.
Just a second. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I think the Zoom meeting.
So no one was seeing what I was talking
We
about?
were seeing, but suddenly we lost the image. I think it was something related to Zoom, or perhaps.
Well, the technical. So Mariana and Pablo are going to make a raffle of an NFT. So I'm going to pass out these papers to to put it in your name. Yeah, we're going to make the raffle after they finish. Thank you.
This is the magic of live streams. Because live streams, stuff happens.
Yeah.
You have to be trust.
Yeah.
I don't
So
know, like, yeah.
my computer decided to just disconnect from the internet just because.
Just because.
Just because.
Makes sense.
So
But
I,
yeah, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can just like say, like, hey, it's we have a really cool community.
you're back.
We're back.
You're back. Yeah.
So can you see my screen? Just like
We're
moving.
seeing the screen.
Okay, cool. So I'll go back and just like quickly tell everyone about the attributes. Like for example, here I have a collection, the humankind collection. I can just like go and manage every little detail of every attribute. For example, here I have a giant sword or a hatchet backpack. And then from here I can say, hey, from common, I want it to be more unusual. That means that in the collection, there are going to be less hatchets. It's going to be a little bit more rare for it to appear. And when it's more rare, sometimes like it becomes more valuable because it's more scarce. Scarcity usually drives value because there's less of that, and if there's more demand, then the value of that goes a little bit higher. So it's kind of like saying like on Pokemon cards, for example. Some Pokemon cards are like really common, and everybody has it. Oh, you have the Pikachu. I have like 20 of those Pikachu cards. But then there's one specific card, like the one with fire. I don't know why I chose Pokemon as an example because I don't know anything about Pokemon. Because I'm the worst at, but you get the idea. It's just like, hey, there are some of those that are more rare, right? So that's the kind of stuff that you can do here. Like once you create the art, you can say like, hey, the hatchet is more rare. And you know what? The giant sword is going to be a little bit more common. And then you can also say specific numbers. For example, here on the arrows, instead of a percentage, you can go to a number and say a fixed quantity. Only show 10 arrows, only show specifically. That means that it's not going to be will the algorithm. I mean, it's going to still work with the algorithm, but it's going to always be just 10 arrows on every collection that it creates. Also, I did the same with the synthesizer. And just like, hey, you can control all of this stuff. Yeah, so now you go to your preview, and actually you can just regenerate the preview, the 10,000 tokens, and the arrows should only be 10 on the backpack. So let's go and test that. Arrows, only 10. There you go. There's only 10 in the collection of 10,000. There's only 10 arrows. That means that, hold on, what is that? Divided by 10, that's, am I dumb? Like, I'm pretty dumb, like, that's like 0.01%? I don't know what it is. I didn't know what I was expecting with my calculations there. Anyway, that's it on creating it. Once you're ready, then you can generate your collection. From that, you can create your new smart contract, load it to IPFS, and then from smart contract, you can go to the contract, and then here, let me just like actually just like hide these. I'm going to hide these because these are just tests that I made, and I'm going to create a new one. And this is going to be Barcelona. Barcelona. Let it go. Yeah. Once you're here, then you are in your smart contract generation. And a smart contract is what puts your project, your art in the blockchain. And that it allows, the smart contract allows for your collectors, your buyers, to actually mint or buy your artwork. And it's kind of an app that you build, you put in the blockchain, and then others can access it. So, and that requires someone who knows how to do this kind of programming or dev work. It's called Solidity, that's what it's called. And so instead of doing that, you can do it yourself. You as an artist, without code knowledge, you can just come here with this no-code tool and put your artwork in the blockchain. So this is here, you can say like if it is going to be Ethereum or Polygon. There's different, and we explain what is the difference between these two. Ethereum is usually more used. It's a little bit more expensive though. Polygon is more affordable and is better for the environment. But now with Ethereum actually changing and doing a merge, actually Ethereum is going to be, I think, as efficient as Polygon. We'll see. But let's say that here you give your contract name something, then you give a symbol, let's call it human, as your symbol of how it's going to look on the tickers. Then you select the collection. I'm going to select the humankind collection, and we already created a token set. This was created a long time ago, so I'm just going to use it as an example. Going to save next, and then here's where the magic of like how your contract is going to work, it's done. So this is going to write into the contract that you want to do a pre-sale. Like, and you can set a price 0.01, for example, and also supply that only 100 are going to be on the pre-sale at that price. And I'm going to say that there's a wallet maximum of only two per wallet can buy. And if you want to, you can do an allow list. That means that only certain people can actually enter. For example, here we have a tool to create your own allow list. For example, we have one that is like a humankind waitlist, and this is only 65 wallets right now. And then from there, like that means that only those people are going to be entered. Or you can create your own, just like, hey, you can import a CSV with all the different wallets you want, all the different users that you want to allow to buy your artwork. You can create your own, just like manually. If you want to actually insert all of that stuff manually, or just upload a CSV. Then from there, you set your price for the public sale. Once those 100 people on your allow list buy, then you want to open the public sale for everyone to buy. But maybe you change your price, and for the public sale, it's going to be 0.02, a little bit more expensive. And the supply is just going to be whatever is left, right? If there's 400 left, then your supply in public sale is only going to be 400. And then here you can set also your per wallet maximum, and this, maybe you want to allow up to only one per wallet. That means that more people will have to be collecting your collection. And then you can say the next, and then you go to the next features, say
So-
next.
Bueno is
Yes.
connecting to the blockchain, right?
Yes, it's doing all that stuff.
That's
So
why-
now here, you can add, for example, a wallet address. And this wallet address, your primary sales, like where the proceeds are going to go. Once you sell, and let's say that you make 20 ETH, well, where is those 20 ETH from the primary sale, from the mint, are going to go? And then by default, it just like takes your wallet. It says like, hey, all that stuff is going to go to your wallet. But maybe you have other people on your team, maybe someone else who, maybe you have a community fund wallet. You can add that wallet here, and you can add a percentage of that wallet. Maybe it's only 10% of that wallet, and you can just add it here. I'm going to, but here it will appear here. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have wallet addresses to paste. Now, you can also set the royalties of your contract, specifically in the contract. That means royalties are like on secondary sales. Once something is sold and it's someone is in possession of that, you can control how much of the percentage of that royalties go back to you. Like if they sell it, should you get a percentage of that sale? Usually like collections and stuff, depending on the type of art, they go from 1 to 10%. Let's say that we set it at 4%. For every sale that happens in the secondary market, I want to take a 4% of that sale. That means that that would allow me to keep doing work, and just like it's a great way for artists to just like keep receiving, just like keep making proceeds from their art, from the stuff that they created. So they can do that. They can make it burnable too, and then you can add something that's called delayed reveal. I don't know if you've ever seen a minting collection where it's like, hey, you can add a specific, that you did reveal what token people got. Imagine, let's go back to the example of the Pokemons. And when you buy your Pokemon cards, they're kind of inside a package, right? You cannot see what is inside. So the opening, the revealing of what's inside is what we call, like in this, like a revealing what you got. So everyone has their package, you know, and they don't know what card is inside Pokemon. But then in your contract, you can say like, okay, reveal it for everyone. That means that everyone at the same time opens their package and see what's inside. And some of them will get cooler card, or just like a common card, but still cool. They're all cool, I guess. But you can add a placeholder image that will allow that. But I'm going to say that, you know what, it's going to be just like an instant reveal. You save it next, and then from here, you can start deploying your smart contract. And this is where you're actually putting it in the blockchain. This is forever. So you want to show, like, see, everything is right. Is your price right? Is your total supply right? Is the people who are going to be getting the proceeds are here. All of that stuff is here. So we draw threads, like who's going to get that, and then you deploy your contract on the testnet, first on the testnet, and then you deploy it on the mainnet. Mainnet is when you actually, people can start buying. So I'm going to just like go back. I'm not going to deploy the contract right now, but I'm going to show you one that has been deployed. Once it has been deployed, then it looks something like this. Like this is where you see like how many are left, what is the royalty, all that stuff. And you can come back and actually change that. You can, you know what, at any time say like, you know what, no, I'm going to change the price of the public sale to 0.1 instead. Once you do that, then you have to do it in the blockchain. Right now, I don't have access to do that because somebody else deployed this contract. But the idea is that you, at any time, can change that. And that can be because, like, you're seeing that you put a really high price and people are not buying, and maybe your community is like, dude, come on, like, lower the price, and then we'll buy it. They're like, okay, and you come back here and you lower the price a little bit, and then people buy it. So it's kind of like doing a promo while the sale is happening. While the smart contract's already there, you can make those changes. And you can even change like how many per wallet can be, how many, all those configurations you can come back. Some of those configurations you cannot actually change them, but a lot of them you can. And also we have something that is called like minting tools, and this is still in beta. But here you can create your own mint page. For example, I created this mint page. That means that if you don't have, I don't know, like if you don't know how to create your own website or how to put your own mint stuff on your own website, we have like a page that you can host on Bueno.art that you can share. For example, here I have this page that is called nft.bueno.art/mint and the name of this one. And this one, you can see it has all the mint abilities here, and it has all that stuff. I'm not in the I have reached the maximum amount of things you can mint. So like since there are rules on that, I already did that, so I cannot mint anymore. But this is how we look at it. And this is just like because this is the description. This is super cool. Hello, Barcelona. Hello, Barcelona. And then I can save the changes and let's see if they change the stuff over here. And hey, there you go. So now if you go to this URL, well, the URL, you can also change it, I think. Description, oh, I guess not. No, you cannot change the URL yet. We're going to maybe do that. But also, if you have your own website, if you have your own stuff and it's like, Pablo, I don't need your website. I'm a designer. I can do no CSS web. You can just like use or a code widget, like which is like this is a preview of how it will look. But here you can even just like put this on your site. It's just a div. It's a code that is going to put the mint experience on your own site, and then that way you can just create your own site and post it on your site. And then even just like do some customization where it's like the color, you can customize if it shows the price or not, if it shows the supply or not,
And all of that stuff is just going to be here. And you can even come here, and if you know a little bit of code, you can just like control some of that stuff here in the code too. You just copy the embed code, you just post it on your site. So that's the other tool that we have. The other tool, last thing that I want to show is, for example, something that we call forms. And these are used specifically for allow list. When you want your people to just like you want to create a form to gather the information in the wallets of the people, you can create a form here. You can set an end date, what is the project website, the maximum spots, then the requirements. Like for example, if you want like, hey, only people who have a minimum ETH or something, you can share that. Also, if you want to put a password, if you want to put an NFT requirement that says like, hey, only people who have a roboto in the Ethereum can actually subscribe to that. That could be one way. And that way, it checks the wallet. Does it have a roboto? Yes. Okay. You can subscribe. Like those kinds of stuff. Also, like you can even turn on a Discord role. If you want to say like, hey, connect Discord and say, want to connect really quickly, authorize Discord. There you go. So now I can say like, hey, from the humankind Discord, only the ones who have what is it called? I remember, was it champs? Yeah, champ. Only the ones who have a champ role can actually subscribe. Boom, now only those can subscribe. So a lot of different rules that you can make just to make your collection a little bit better. And also you can ask for Twitter and pages. Now let's preview it. Let's see how it looks. You can preview the form, and this is how it will look. So people who want to register, let's try it somewhere else here, because I have already registered. So like here, you can have your wallet, you put your Twitter, your email, and then you can register. The idea here is that as a builder, I can start gathering this information to make my mint experience better, or just like make my community experience a little bit better. So different tools for NFT creators, so they can put their art on the blockchain, but also have like different interactions with their community. And yeah, we have other tools, but I don't think we have time. But I just wanted to share that.
Yay! Oh, I'm good with that.
But yeah, if you generator, the contract for the player, the forms, you have something called the microverse. This is some data, but this is just for people to create their own worlds in 2D. I'm not going to show this tool right now because it takes a lot of time, and this is pretty much a sign. But you connect your keys, and you can create quests, and you can create treasure hunts, you can create games. Like I think I'm really proud of what the team has been building. It's just like a microverse, like, hey, you can create your own art and use this as a design tool. All of this, and also it's like multiple people can be designing the world at the same time. So here you can see that multiple people are actually just like enter and build more. You can see everything happening in real time. And you can do your own style. It doesn't matter. It's style agnostic. And it's all, if you do your own hand-drawn stuff, you can just like do hand-drawn stuff. For example, all of this stuff, by the way, this is real. This is not fake. This is all real, like the different worlds that people have been building. And you can just like, this is just like, for NFTs are not just a PFP product. They actually are characters. People love their NFTs. They love their character. They identify with it. So now why not create a world in which they can just like walk around, do stuff with that thing. And then later they can connect their brains into it. And then suddenly we're there in the micro, just like in there, you know, or entities. Just
Yeah, it's like Figma. It's like a Figma for the metaverse in a really
It is.
funny and cool way to build worlds with a team.
Yeah, no, seriously it is. Like, I'm just going to show really quickly. Here I'm going to select my player. I'm going to sign in.
By the way, that's Robopolis. At first I told you that like we kickstart our journey in NFTs because that project called Robotus. So we built this city. It's called Robopolis. It's inspired in the Mexican brutalism of Agustin Hernandez, and it's our metaverse. People connect there, hang out. The other day we had a techno concert there. I don't remember the name of the DJ, but we had like a pretty big DJ DJing there, and people were just jumping around.
Yeah,
Metaverse
it's,
Party.
Yeah, this is our world. We create treasure hunts. We create stuff with it. You can just like transport, like all this stuff. Like, let me just enter Fillmore. But I have control over all of this stuff. If I want to put another one, maybe there's a lot of lights, and maybe there's another bench here, and multiple benches. Why not? Just like I want my citizens of Robopolis to sit everywhere. I want to be higher. So like it's so cool because as a designer of this, you're pretty much just like the god, you know.
I think you're back. Yeah. Okay, Pablito. This is difficult. Yeah. But you know what? I will continue with the questions. If you're okay with that, you can be there drawing. Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much for all this demo.
Is there a chance to get that? Unless it's clicking away.
Yeah, ask him to go get out and get in again.
No, we are back.
Okay, Pablo, so people are asking you not to go. They want you here. So they're working on your audio.
We can hear you just for the computer, but I will be the microphone, so. Hasta todo.
Sí, ya.
Ya.
Más o menos.
Ya, más o menos.
A ver, grita.
Grita.
Come here. Ask him directly here. I think it's better.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Pablo. I'm Lana. I'm the CEO of Harvard State University. First of all, thank you guys for showing up. It's been a long time since I think we've planned it or we wanted to have you around. Yes, that's what you want right now. So my question is, I know that you've been building InVision as a tool. And I guess it'd be interesting to hear what you learned out of it, what really took you on the journey down to transition from,
I don't know your role there in Envision, but I thought you were like the product manager, like the person who put everything together. And now you build this amazing new product. How long it took you to build this product? You know, this is something interesting. And who did you build it with? Like, how did you go about building such an amazing platform for us that you presented us today? And all the other things. And why do you think we should all go into metaverse? I mean, I have my own reservations. That's the second question. And my main reservation is that if people, let's say, start living in the metaverse, and I imagine this kind of people putting all these helmets or Oculuses and stop moving, and we've already experienced a massive problem with mental health, even through the TikTok and Instagram, because it's a tool that was not always used for good, right? So my worry is, and I'd like to ask you if you share my worry, what will happen to the humankind if we all start putting our kids there very early on, and or you see it more as a productivity tool. Sort of, what are the arguments for the metaverse? And how can we, as educators, I guess, do the right thing, now that it's such a new thing, right? To avoid the mistakes we've done with TikToks and all the other things in Web 2.0. Thank you so much again. It was amazing, really.
Thank you for the question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, a little bit.
No.
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Hello.
No, it's not gonna.
No.
I'll try to answer the questions, and there were two questions, right? Can you hear me? Oh, look at that. There's people. Hi. So there were two questions. One was the journey from vision to what we're doing right now, right? And for those who don't know, vision is was a tool for creators, creating prototypes and design from their own. I work in Vision specifically in a tool called Studio. Vision Studio. This tool was to like another design tool, right? For screen designers in a way, like designers who build UIs and user experiences. So I was in the team that was specifically in the part. Hello?
Suddenly we heard your voice like very loud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're all good. So you were speaking about ambition.
Yes, I think there's some feedback going on because like maybe yeah. Okay. Hello. Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to. That's just me. Do the feedback thing. It's not really the feedback. Okay. So yeah, the question was like about Envision, and I started Envision as a designer, and I was in charge specifically in the all the community part, where it's like all the different tooling that other creators will build with our own API and with our own tools. So it's kind of like a plugin system inside our own design tool. And there I was lucky to just like really like learn a lot, right? Because like from designing for designers or creating tools for other creatives. And it's a great experience to just like put yourself in the shoes of like of another creator and how to build a tool so they can create stuff that you wouldn't imagine. So it was a great learning experience for me, and I met like some of the smartest people I've ever met, and I was lucky enough to just like really vibe with a couple of developers. Well, with a lot of them, but with a couple of them where it's like, hey, during the pandemic, suddenly we had a lot of time in our hands, and it's like, hey, you know what? I've been thinking about this kind of tool that allows people to just like add illustrations to whatever they make. Would you like to do that with me? So I was lucky to get my co-founders to just like join me in this ride, and then somehow convince them that to quit our very steady jobs for going and building something with doodles during the pandemic. I don't know how I convinced them. I was lucky to have them, and then we have been like after that, just like focusing on just like how to allow other creators to be just like as creative as they can, and also just invite others who are not. For us, is really important. Just like making the tools as easy and understandable as possible, where it's like, hey, anyone, even if they don't have a design degree or have that kind of experience, we believe that those kinds of people that they have been told all their lives that they're not creative, they don't have the talent, and they don't have this, they have believed that idea that they don't have creativity, because like the creatives are like those who are in the corner dressed in all in black, and sometimes like, I don't know, like, and wear really white shoes. So like you're like, oh, well, those are the creative ones. They're not creative. So or thinking is like, no, create tools that allow everyone to just like use their creativity however they want. So we went and did some experiments in the NFT space last year, and that allowed us to see the opportunity of just like the different things that can be done. In just like this side, like once you start going deeper, like, and like the person who asked the question, like from the outside, you get to see all the stories from like how bad this is
for the world, all the bad things that are happening there. And yeah, like a lot of that stuff is true, you know, but usually the media will focus on the stuff that is like, that will create clicks, you know, that will give them clicks. So like that's usually, as an outsider, that's what you see from this space. But once you enter it and you see what's inside, you will see that, yeah, there's a lot of bad stuff. There's a lot of people who are there only to just like seek profits and seek like how to scam people. Like that exists, and you have to be really careful. But there's also a huge community of people like that understand that this is the future. That we're really early into a technology that is going to change how we use the web in the future. Right now, it's already changing. You're already seeing this full force of different platforms and different tools already getting into this. Like you see Twitter, you see Instagram, they're already dipping their toes into NFTs, into the blockchain, because the Reddit, like all of these tools, like understand that this is going to be the future. This is how we're going to be, NFTs, the blockchain is going to be how we identify on the web, how we secret privacy, how we buy art, how do we collect things, and how do we own things, and how do we participate with others. Like all of this stuff, like right now is the wild, wild west. That's how it feels. Like you enter and it's a mess. But that is also like for anyone who is out there who really vibes in that environment, who that it like is motivated by that chaos, like you will find a home there, because like you will find like really smart people who are trying to make this work. That we all understand that right now it's not efficient, it's slow, it's connecting different platforms is hard. Like, there's a lot of scammers. All of that, those things, you understand those challenges, and then you try to work on those challenges to make this more, so it's used by others. To the point where like anyone can just like have their own possessions, their own like ownership of their privacy, have more control of what the content that they receive, the content they consume, because they're not just depending on an algorithm created by Instagram or Facebook or Google. It's like what I want to own, what I want to consume, the people who I want to support. And I say people because on the other side, it's not a corporation that is going to be the one who is going to be creating the content. You own the content from a creator directly. And it's not a platform in between. It's really buying it from the creator, from the team that is on the other side. They created the contract, they created the community, and you're really working in this way. And once you're an owner of these kinds of things, then you can participate too. Then you, like for example, on our side, we are really focused on community-driven storytelling. The idea is that, we invite others, that it's not just centralized as how, like, let's say Disney, how it works right now. Disney works and just like they have their studio and they create everything, they create the IP and they put it out there, right? And it's just like they hire the writers, they hire everything, and then they decide what is going to go out there. But if we flipped it and say like, and for example, you might do fan art, you might do some lore. Disney is going to come back at you and say like, yo, that's mine, you're not allowed to do that, like give it to me. And so you might be careful about like creating your own fan art, because like you don't really own that, right? You don't own that property. But like with this, like we're changing like how we manage even those kinds of things, where it's like artists invite the community for all that lore, all that fan art to become canon. Like it's not just like something that is like out there, but it becomes like this symbiosis of like working as a community to create something together, and not just only that, but just like get the royalties of all of the project together too. Like if there's any profits, as an owner, as someone that is like having a share in this thing, then I can receive some of that too. Like if I participated as a writer, if I participated as an animator, if I participated writing blog posts or doing the marketing, or I don't know, just like fixing some stuff in the Discord or whatever, then you get to just like receive some of those things. And that's, I think, what is changing right now. And
we keep hearing the metaverse and all this stuff, and I'll be honest, like all the metaverse tools that are out there are going to be like potentially dead in just like 2 years from now. Because a lot of the metaverses that are coming out there, they're really focusing on the profits, how to make money out of this, how to sell land. And it's like, that's crazy. Just like, we already have that problem in the real world. We already have the problem of scarcity of property in the real world. Why do this, I don't know, skeuomorphic idea of like what the world should be over here in this digital world that we can do whatever we want. And then like, I love how like, hey, let's bring it a metaverse. We can do whatever we want. Oh, okay, let's do just like let's replicate those problems that we already have over there and just do them here. And the profits are going to go all for us. It's just like so crazy that idea. Like, and that stuff is going to die. And it's obvious that that's not going to be the case. And like, whenever you see like, oh, buying land is so expensive, don't buy that shit. Like, I'm sorry, so it's just like that is just like people who are building for profit and to get your money. So don't fall into that stuff. Like go and support, like there's already other metaverses that exist. They're not considered a metaverse, but that's where like really people are actually playing. And you can see Roblox. You can even call Discord a metaverse because that's where people are actually talking. That's where they're trading. That's where they're actually interacting. Discord is the real metaverse. Like, hey, if you go to Twitter, you're talking, you're creating a community. That's the real metaverse because those conversations are happening and more we're getting into that. So like, when you see like this 3D world that it's just like, hey, only $5,000. This little piece of land. Don't buy that stuff. Don't get into that. That's not the reality. That's not what is going to happen. Well, that's just me. Sorry, I'm just being. Wow, can we cut that? Oh my God. I think the metaverse, like right now, is really early. Like what you see, all this 3D worlds, all that stuff is really. I think let's give it a couple of years and see what happens. But right now, the thing that is happening right now is that what I describe as the Wild Wild West, that's an opportunity for you creators to come and say like, no, this should be the metaverse. This should be like how creators contribute to a community. This is how we should all work together. This is what ownership should be about. And the ownership is about creation and sharing of this world. So like the metaverse is really what you wanted to do. Like the tools that are actually going to be mainstream have not been built. So those tools, you can build them. You have the opportunity to build them. So like, and that's why we invite others to say like, hey, this is just us beginning, we're experimenting, but really we need more people like you to come and solve all the problems that we have. Yeah.
I just wanted to add to that, like the city you saw, Robopolis, that city was built with the ideas of a whole community, and it's super cool because they were like, hey, why don't we build this thing? Hey, we need a bar. We need to hang out in a disco place because we have these robots with a disco hat and they have to live there. And it's really cool because we are building with them, using their ideas. They're just having fun. They're not thinking in, oh, I'm gonna make some millions building. No, they just want friends. They just want to hang out. And these new types of metaverse, I think that they are amplifying human connection. And for the question, like as educator, like how can we teach the next generation of designers to do the things in the right way? I think that my advice there is like, you have to be open, you have to be inclusive, build